Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning into this podcast. Today, I have Salima Nadira as my guest. Salima, can you tell my audience a little bit about yourself and your role?
Good morning, Cass. Well, firstly, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. It's my honor, and I love how beautiful and professional this is. I feel like a superstar already.
Thank you.
So I'm Salima. I work at Airboxr. It's a software company. It's from Singapore, but we're here in the States. And in my free time, I'm also a singer-songwriter, and I make music under the name Sasha M.
Awesome. Very cool. Can you tell us a little bit about what does Airboxr do?
So Airboxr is a data automation company.
Cool.
So what that does is that we help basically e-commerce brands to pull data, clean data, and prepare reports and analytics in their spreadsheets. And not to talk too long about it, but the whole premise of it is that all analysis happens on spreadsheets.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
Lots of tools don't really accommodate to the kind of needs that a brand has. And so we figured instead of trying to create something that fulfills everyone's individual needs, why don't we just build it on spreadsheets so that people can decide for themselves. And then we automate everything so that your reports that you set up will update every single day. And it's always clean, it's always accurate. So
Cool.
That's what we do.
So maybe can you give me like a really popular use case? Let's say if I had a brand, like what would be like a typical problem that you guys would solve?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Actually, a whole of business BI tool.
And BI is business intelligence,
Yes,
right?
that's right. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
So whole of business intelligence tool, it looks at finance, it also looks at marketing, it looks at product sales, customer segmentation, fulfillment, efficiency. And so I would say that basically anything that has to do with revenue, that touches revenue, we're on it. While marketing teams and operations teams do use it, I think the most useful use case is in finance.
Okay.
Because what we can do is that we can actually help you to reconfigure problems with your metrics, like things aren't lining up properly. Maybe your website uses an app and it puts returns in discounts instead of, like refunds.
Yeah.
And you need to fix that because it's showing the wrong metrics. And then your business executives are getting the wrong data and then they're making decisions based off the wrong information. So those are really critical problems that we solve for, especially revenue teams and finance teams in businesses.
Very cool. And so what is your job title?
So I'm director of marketing.
Okay, cool.
And I just recently became that.
Oh, congratulations.
Recent
Yay.
promotion. Thank you.
Awesome. And so you mentioned that Airboxr is a Singaporean company. Mm-hmm. And where are you from?
So I'm from Singapore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. And so had you heard of Airboxr before you joined the company? Was there any connection to your Singaporean background and the fact that Airboxr is a Singaporean company?
So I would say that it had nothing to do with anything when I was looking for jobs.
Okay. I was curious.
Except for the fact, no, but it's a great question because like when you're thinking about where you want to work, there are a few things that you have in mind, right? So for me, it's funny because I was actually moving out of a completely different industry.
Oh, okay.
So I previously, prior to tech, I was working full-time in entertainment.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I was dancing, I was acting, I was mostly on the talent side. But then also as an entertainer, you have to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, totally.
So, right? Like you have to find your own business. It's kind of like being a startup. Mm-hmm. And so I picked up a bunch of like back-end skills, like some marketing, some sales, right? And then basically when I wanted to move out of that, it was time to leave. And I said, well, I want to do something that firstly lets me do all the fun things that I was already doing, right? Have a lot of autonomy in my work. Most importantly, lets me work remote. So internet companies, nothing to do with like going to the office or having to like do something in person. It was so funny. Like I just went on LinkedIn and scrolled through all kinds of jobs in all kinds of sectors. Mm-hmm. And I trialed 3 jobs.
Okay.
Like at the same time. And was trying to figure out like where I should go. And in the end, Airboxr was the one basically.
Okay. So I want to talk about, you're from Singapore and I want to understand your path to getting to the United States.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I'm not always in the States.
Okay.
So I'm sometimes in Singapore, I'm sometimes in the States. And because I work remotely, I'm sometimes in somewhere else. I spent a lot of time in Brazil. That's my
cool.
new favorite, by the way. Love Brazil. Shout out to Brazil. And then some other places like for remote working, I'm just kind of exploring.
Cool.
I guess like international in that way, like a lot of remote workers.
Like digital nomad.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. So I guess the States is just like part of where I am. But honestly, this is where most of the opportunities have been because I joined in the beginning of the company.
And what year was that?
I think it was middle of 2022. Now I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, it was like kind of around end of COVID. They started the company in COVID. So they were always like a fully remote company. And the ironic thing was that pretty much the majority of our customers at the time, at the beginning. So the funny thing was that at the beginning, all our users were mostly from the US.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even though Singaporean company, but your user base, US.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think it has to do with the business that we were building. It was built on Shopify.
Yeah.
It was e-commerce brands. And I think also the fact that it was a new app. And I think in the States, people are always looking for something to improve their business. They're happy to try new apps. And in Singapore, I guess a lot of businesses are either not as new or people are not as receptive to trying new apps until it's been proven. Right?
Interesting.
So it's a cultural thing. And so, yeah, we just saw the opportunity to spend more time in the States. And I think the main reason why we're here is because this is product development, product research. So if you're starting a new app, you'll probably do this as well. But when you try to get feedback, right, on your app, you'll try and do conversations. You'll call people, you'll try and talk to them, have interviews, right? So the problem that we were facing is that a lot of the users who were from the States, who are actively using our app, didn't want to talk. They just wanted to work. Mm-hmm. They're busy. I mean, I respect that. Like, like they're hustling. A lot of them are like getting to their first million. They sometimes are like pretty much the only person in the business. So I get that, like they don't really have time to
give you a lot of
feedback.
Extensive feedback and
not even at all.
Yeah.
So they didn't want to get on calls and we were like, well, this is our user base, right? Like these will be our customers. We need to know what will serve them. And if they're not going to come to us, we are going to go to them. So, just do what it takes pretty much. And we're not like a super well-funded company. We don't have like loads of money to blow around, like to spend on rent in New York, for example. Mm-hmm. But we were like, if this is what it needs, we're going to do it. So that's how we ended up coming to the States. And it's been great because we get in front of people, we have real conversations, we get good feedback.
You're where your customer base is, which I think is very helpful.
Yeah.
So how many people are in the company? And I know that some people like to describe the stage of their startup according to like rounds of funding. How would you describe Airboxr? Like what stage you're at?
So I'm not the co-founder, so I don't have that many details that I can share. But from what I can tell you, we are a pre-seed company.
Pre-seed, okay.
We are a very lean team. At the moment, we are 6 full-time.
Okay.
The team is distributed all over the world, basically. I work in multiple different time zones, managing people in different areas. I'm employee number 3, which is like literally the next employee after the co-founders. So I have a lot of responsibilities. And we're healthy. We have already a good base of users and also customers. We have good feedback. We have recurring revenue. And we actually also started recently to implement some new service pricing because a lot of our existing users have been getting us not just for the platform, but also to help them with like data prep or creating dashboards or helping them like, okay, I need like even to set up a database because this particular app doesn't have reporting APIs and I need to get it and I don't know how to do it and like, can you help me? And we're like, yeah, I mean, whatever it needs, to help people get the data that they need, then we'll see.
Cool.
We'll try our best to do it.
Yeah, interesting. So, insofar as delivering the service component, is that executed by your team? Like someone on your team of 6?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're basically half data engineers and half data analysts.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And honestly, I think one pain point that we've been hearing a lot is that many brands have had experience working in the past with people who set up, like, for example, their Power BI dashboards or any other dashboards on other apps. And it was a very time-consuming setup. Sometimes it was costly. The problem is that these dashboards, they're a living being. You don't just set them up once and then expect them to run forever. Like, fine, it's like a car. Yeah. You have to tune it up. You have to maintain it. Oftentimes, for example, their BI dashboards might fail, right? And the problem is that at that point, they don't have the support. right? So they'll call someone, and that support person will be basically a random engineer that doesn't really know what is needed. If you want to fix that, you actually need an analyst to go in.
Yeah, someone who specializes in analyzing, processing data,
Yes.
structuring data.
Yes.
Versus maybe a business owner would try to hire some web developer on Fiverr. Like that's not the right person to help that user. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you're getting it right. And a lot of people think that, oh, you know what, this should be a $50 fix. Like I can just get someone to do this thing and I'll tell them exactly what to do. And then they do that and realize that actually that was a bad idea. They have messed everything up.
Yeah.
And like it's a disaster. And they're like, all right, now I need to find somebody else to fix it. And then it's going to be way more expensive because I completely messed up everything.
And this is a very critical component of every business is like being able to have visibility into your sales, like whatever you're reporting on with your data. It's important to get it right and make sure that it's functioning because so many aspects of how you run the business depend on those metrics.
Absolutely. I heard a funny story just the other day saying how there's a huge business, several $100 million business. Okay. They look like they're doing really well. They probably are. But in the back end, it's a complete mess. Everyone's working.
It's a lot of businesses. That's a lot of big businesses. That's the case. Yeah.
Right. And they're working off of spreadsheets, which I don't think is a problem, but the spreadsheets are wrong. They're manually updated and people are just spending ridiculous amounts of hours cleaning spreadsheets every single time for the same kinds of reports. And then they also have a dashboard, and the dashboard actually gives the wrong data. So it's mad because the executives are looking at the dashboards which have wrong data.
Yeah.
And then the team actually has the real report on the spreadsheets, which they
and putting
spend
all
hours
this time
doing.
and labor into.
And the executives aren't even looking at it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a huge problem, right? This shouldn't be such a massive obstacle in your business. This is like basic. You should basically have the right data.
Right.
So that's something we hope that we can solve.
Tell me a little bit about your role, like day to day. I'm sure, especially at a pre-seed company, you're wearing a lot of hats. You were employee number 3. But I think it would be really valuable for young people listening to hear what your day to day looks like.
If you love having no predictability in your job, join a startup company. I think I would say that, and I've been at this company for 2.5, almost 3 years now. My role has changed pretty much every few months. And in the beginning, and I think it comes along with the stage at which the business is at. In the beginning, when I joined, it was a fully remote company. I mean, it still is, but we just didn't really have any presence anywhere necessarily, like not in Singapore, not in the States, but just like an internet company, as it were. And a lot of the things, the work that I was doing day to day was content. So don't sleep on content. I mean, this is great. This is fantastic, but content is the number one driver of leads, interest, education.
Content insofar as like blogs on the site and like articles that you're contributing to.
Yes.
Yeah, written content.
Yeah, so for us, because we were an app and the angle that we were going for was tooling and also like more of working with spreadsheets, how to work with spreadsheets better, how to like use formulas, how to set up your reports, etc., how to automate, right? So these were very heavily technical subjects. The benefit of that is they're very highly Googleable. It would work with keywords, it would work with how-tos, FAQs, and stuff like that. So that really helped. Honestly, content, like blog content and SEO has been the number one driver of traffic and users to our
That's
app.
good.
Yeah.
So SEO, search engine optimization, that is referring to all the activities that you do on a website in order to manipulate those variables that Google and other search engines consider when they evaluate where a website is ranked. Websites get displayed to users when they type in an inquiry into the search engine. So SEO, when you're referring to SEO, you're talking about typically like organic marketing, or when you're doing SEO, you're not paying for it. It's not paid. It would be if you're running ads like on Google. So that's really good that most of your users are driven to the website through organic marketing, through SEO, because that's for a lean team that is trying to maximize what they can do pre-seed. You want to have a really powerful like SEO strategy, and you don't want to be spending a ton on ads because you can burn through cash really quickly that way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you nailed it. Also, if you want to do ads, you want to be more targeted about it. So,
Yeah.
like when you know what SEO keywords are working well, then you can double down on that with paid keywords, paid search, and paid search is so much more affordable and more useful.
And for someone who maybe doesn't know the term paid search, how would you describe that? It's like ads on Google networks, the text ads, right?
I feel like your explanation would be better. But my very layman explanation is just like you figure out you go on Google Ads and you tell them, okay, these keywords are something that I want to rank more highly on search results. When you search for a certain keyword, they'll be like at the top, there'll be maybe like 2 or 3 sponsored
Search results.
articles.
Yeah.
And that's the one that would be like a paid search keyword. So yeah, all businesses are doing that. Sometimes it's on like branded keywords, which is the name of your company, because you already have, for example, brand awareness. People are aware of your company name, so they search it. And that's always the cheapest one in general. But the more expensive paid keywords would be, for example, like data analytics would be a freaking expensive keyword.
Like data analytics tool. Every single tool out there that touches data is going to be bidding on that keyword.
Yeah, exactly. So you're going to know exactly what your niche is.
The higher the specificity, typically the lower the cost.
Yeah.
Sometimes. It depends.
Sometimes,
there are certain industries like real estate is a big one, or legal, where those terms are very expensive. So, but generally speaking, you want to be going more specific with the keywords that you're targeting with your ads, because also you want to grab people when they're further down the conversion funnel.
Exactly.
Like when you're typically ready to purchase, you're getting more specific, right?
Yes.
Like if you think about how a user, shops on Amazon, you're not just going shoes. You're like, I'm looking for a strapless heel. What?
You should see.
That's an example.
You should see some long tail keywords. And I wrote some articles at the beginning about some best practices that brands that I was a fan of were doing. And they're so long ago now, I can't remember. But you should see some long tail keywords that brands like, for example, Rothy's were using. And Rothy's is a huge shoe brand. They're making over $1 billion. Over $1 billion shoe brand, and they got bought over by a Brazilian firm, the Havaianas firm. When they were ramping up, they would use long tail keywords serving underserved markets. So, for example, one problem, like I, for example, have wide feet. And as someone who has wide feet, I struggle a lot with flats. So flats always come in narrow. It's so hard to find wide. Rothy's niched down on that. They were so smart and so specific. And they were like, all right, our keyword's going to be women's, flats, pointy toe, wide, size 8, all the things that I would be looking for.
So that's what a long tail keyword is. It's a search query that has descriptors in it. So instead of just flats, it's like pointed toe flats, like narrow, high bridge, I don't know.
Yeah. Burgundy,
Yeah, exactly,
made a crisscross pattern, I don't know, whatever. Yeah.
So that's another key strategy for your company in order to like have your marketing dollars go further. You have a really strong SEO organic marketing strategy. So that way you're putting less burden on your paid strategy. And then with your paid strategy, you're going after long tail keywords. You're going for search queries that have specificity to it. So in that way, you're trying to minimize as much waste as possible. Like you're trying to capture people when they're further down in the funnel and capture your specific segment of customers. How did you guys determine your ICP, your ideal customer profile?
Ooh, this was a journey. How much time do we have? I'll try to make it short, but this is how it was, the story of our company. We built 4 products.
Okay.
All in the direction with the aim of finding our actual ICP. So we started with a sort of basic ETL, like extract, transfer, load tool. And this is like an extremely technical term, as you can tell, targeted towards extremely technical users who are already very much experts at spreadsheets, right? And so we built that initially, basically a tool that was able to get data from all kinds of sources, including like sales, accounting, etc. And then in Notion, project management. And then we realized that even though some people could use it, the tool itself was so complicated. It was a query builder. It was very sophisticated. So like basically, if you know exactly what you're looking for, like I need a report showing customers from this date range and with this stage of purchase, how many years they've been purchasing, how like a certain amount of value they have spent on the business, also like from these countries, like you have to key in every single thing that you need, and then grouped by date or grouped by month or grouped by like new and returning customers. So you have to know exactly everything that you're looking for, and then it would give you the most amazing report based on your specifications. Now, we learned that no one really thinks like that. And that was a big learning. We were like, oh, so people don't actually go in and be like, all right, I need X, Y, Z, A, B, C.
Exactly what they need.
No, yeah. So then we realized, okay, we're building other products and we're gonna actually package these reports in a way that makes a lot more sense to
Like
people.
a templated report?
Yes. We call them pre-designed analysis.
Okay.
And we call them hops. So it's basically a little like nerdy referencing, but in tech, many times people use this automation tool called Zapier. So it basically automates workflow.
Yeah.
And for us, we automate data, right? So we call our reports hops, kind of like Zapier Zaps. But for data. Yeah.
Okay.
So now you know the origin story of hops. But basically what it does is like we have already pre-packaged certain kind of reports or types of analysis that you need. So on a very simple level, we might have, for example, a hop that pulls you all your ads spend data from Meta, TikTok, and Google, plus your data from Google Analytics 4, traffic data in sessions, plus your actual sales data from Shopify. And then on top of that, it does some self-calculation, and then it gives you your ROAS. And it gives you also your marketing efficiency ratio, because maybe you don't care so much about ROAS because attribution isn't super important for you.
ROAS being return on ad spend.
Yes, exactly. And so that's a single pre-designed report that gives you a whole bunch of things that you would otherwise have spent 5 hours trying to pull, on a weekly basis. We even go one step further to calculate profit on ad spend. For some users that have asked us, we actually need to know how much cash is in the bank at the end of the day. We need to budget for our ad spend or see like whether we can get more inventory or whatever. So we do that. A little more advanced analysis that we have, for example, we have something called recency, frequency, monetary value. And that's a common kind of analysis, statistical analysis that teams typically at larger companies will have experts, analysts, doing this to figure out who are your most valuable customers. And most valuable customers are scored on how recently they came to the website, how frequently they've been to the website, and also how much they spend. So your top customers aren't just the big spenders. They're also like your super engaged fans, right? Your most recent fans, then you have a better idea of like who you should be targeting, who you should be running ads to or creating lookalike audience for, or sending special offers, or even creating like a special experience for them, an in-store experience, or giving them a gift. So things like that. I have so many more to share, but like that gives you an idea of what kind of things that we automate.
So do you guys still offer those 4 products that you kind of went to market? Like, did you come to market with those 4 products, or was that first one and then it evolved?
Yes.
Okay.
The first one it evolved, but basically the other ones still kind of exist in some way or form because we had users on them and we just couldn't bear to kill them and like children.
Like kill those those product lines,
Yeah. So they still exist. One day we'll think about what to do with them, but for now you can still use our plugin to download Notion databases into your spreadsheets if you need that.
Okay, so I would love to talk about your journey, like your career journey. I know you're also a performing artist, and that was a big part of your life. Maybe we start with you grew up in Singapore, maybe where you went to school, and how that, how that evolved.
Fun thing about being in Singapore, it's very efficient. And a lot of your, I guess, career choices or life choices don't have very much to do with what you actually want to do in life. So I went to school like everybody else. I guess they wanted me to do something like that benefited society in some way, which I guess, makes sense. But I really, really wanted to be a performer since I was like 7.
Aw.
Yeah.
Do you have performers in your family? Was you just...
Absolutely not.
Oh, wow. Cool. Okay.
I don't even know where I got it from. Like, honestly, yeah. I mean, my family's in media. Like, my dad used to be a journalist.
Okay.
Super love and respect him for that. And then my mother used to be a video editor for like the Broadcasting Corporation. And then my other brother used to do like video animation. My other brother was doing like some video stuff too.
There's
I was exposed to
string
media.
of creativity there, I feel.
That's it, yeah. But weirdly, nothing in performing and nothing in music. And maybe that's why I was like, oh, I'm going to do that. You know, like I'm going to do something different from what everybody else is doing. But I always loved performing. I think I started when I was like 3 years old, like doing a little, musical thing in my kindergarten. And then I just fell in love with it. And then I went to school. I ended up going to like a smarty pants school, which basically their entire, I guess, mission was to train us to become government workers.
Okay.
Yeah, so they would like send people to Ivy League universities, really good universities, and then the whole intention was to like bring them back and become top civil servants. And I was like, I don't see that in my future.
You're like, I want to be a star.
Absolutely, yeah. Where is the stage?
Cool.
Where is it? So I didn't do that, essentially being a failure of the system. I was like, I will chart my own path. I actually got accepted into NYU Tisch.
Oh, cool.
For university. I was accepted into their directing program. So who knows what would have happened if I had actually gone there. Didn't end up going there because financial reasons, which I think is prudent. Make decisions that I feel like you should chase your dream, but also be practical and it'll work out. So I guess in a sense, like from the beginning, I always really just wanted to carve my own path. And that I think helped me a lot in the sense of like, I think, even though my career journey has had lots of ups and downs, I 100% feel satisfied with where I am. And don't get me wrong, like it has not been easy.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Especially.
But you feel fulfilled. Like,
yeah, absolutely. I remember, well, in the beginning, like, I think it depends on how much risk you want to take. So, like, in the beginning, after university, I got a job. And then at the same time, I was like, I'm going to join this performing arts competition.
And what university in Singapore?
In Singapore,
okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, National University of Singapore. I had like a desk job, a day job. And then I was like, I still really want to be a star. I'm not giving up on my dream, right? So me and two girls, we formed a girl group.
Cool.
And we joined an international performing arts competition.
Okay.
So we won the Singapore one. And then the finals were in Hollywood.
Cool.
So we flew out all the way to Hollywood and competed against teams from like literally all over the world. And we came out top.
What was the competition called?
It's called World Championships of Performing Arts.
Okay.
Yeah. And this was a while back. You can maybe still find our championship video on the internet in extremely low quality if you search. Depends on how good the SEO is. So we were like, oh my gosh, we're world champions. Like what? We're going to throw everything away and like now become full-time artists, right? That was a nice thought. We definitely started on the music journey and realized that the industry is way less nice than doing it as a hobby.
And you guys did you stay in LA when you were trying to?
So we got a bunch of offers in LA, but ultimately we chose to go with a Singaporean record label. We weren't getting, I would say, partly because we thought the Singaporean record label would have a better understanding of what we were and what we wanted to do. And secondly, also because the offers that we got, like, let's be honest, in this industry, this happens all the time, right? So we're three women. We were constantly getting offers that objectified and sexualized us heavily. And we just weren't comfortable with that. We were like, we want to build a career off of our talent and our merit and try not to have that like taint the journey. And it's okay if we don't become like the world's most famous things just because we like showed a whole lot of skin. You know what I mean? So like we didn't want to compromise on those values. So
good for you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so we chose the other path. It was great in some ways, and the label was great, and it was a good experience for us. But then we also started to see like the downside of the industry. And at some point we were like, we actually don't want to be part of this anymore. So we left. And I think that's one big takeaway for me, and not just in entertainment, but in any kind of career. It's like, I feel like you shouldn't compromise on your dreams. So if you really want to do something, you should go for it. But also, you should know when enough is enough. Like, go in, take what you want, and leave. Like, get out of there before it's too late. And then that's when I started my own solo career journey, which was in itself a struggle. Yeah, but I think...
And your solo career journey was in the U.S. at this point? Like all of this was in the U.S.? Or you always were traveling?
So I was always traveling.
Okay.
So my first release as a solo artist was actually with a German producer.
Oh, cool.
And somehow we released it under like a Berlin label, like an EDM label. So it's like electronic dance music. We didn't expect this, but the song blew up.
Oh, cool.
And
what was the song called?
It's called Loaded.
Okay.
Loaded, like, Yeah, like loaded fries, but also loaded gun, like loaded meanings, like loaded words. And there was a lot of wordplay there. So it got like on Spotify Germany viral 50 charts.
Cool.
Yeah, like all the way to the top, number 2, because literally that way, I'm just gonna tell you the story. But that week, do you know Eurovision?
Yeah, I know Eurovision.
Yeah, so Eurovision is a huge international performing arts competition.
It's like American Idol, but like all of Europe. It's
all of
huge.
Europe. Yeah.
Huge in
and
Europe.
now including Israel and Australia and all kinds of things, countries. So it's massive and it's televised, right? So a little more popular than the one that I was in, which was not televised, but it was huge. And in that week, that very week that my song was blowing up was the Eurovision final.
Yeah.
And the winner was this Israeli artist, Netta, and her song Toy was the winner. And I mean, shout out to Netta because she's incredible. And she also recently blew up again on TikTok, so she's like killing it. That was the song above ours on the Spotify Germany viral 50 charts.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, me and the producer were like, who are we? Like, she's literally the winner of Eurovision and we're just some randoms. Yeah, that was an awesome experience. And then I was like, well, I just got to keep doing music now. So.
Yeah, and you can actually find your music still on Spotify.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So for people who want to listen, what can you say your artist name again? And
so my artist name is Sasha M.
Okay.
And I make dance pop music. So if you like fun, energetic tunes, angsty lyrics about being mad at the world.
She can do both.
Yeah. Sometimes together and some healing stuff as well. Yeah, that's me. Check it out.
Do you still sing?
Yes, I try. So I have been recently, like, I guess, trying to optimize my time in life. So when I travel for work, I'll end up in places where actually, like, typically there's some sort of community that either is interested in music or is doing some sort of music productions, and I try to like be part of that. So for example, I was in LA for a songwriting camp.
Cool.
And then I did like a couple of open mics there. This was like a few years ago. And then I was in Toronto, I did open mic there. I was in Singapore, I did open mic there. And then I was in Brazil and they were like, we're doing a charity show. Like it's a concert fundraiser. I'm like, all right, I'll sing. I sang there twice. Even got like some new musicians to like collaborate with me, which was really fun. And we have actually a professional recording coming out of that soon from Brazil. And then in Singapore, they were doing like a concert, a festival type thing, and they got me. I guess it's slow, but it's building up, and I think it's building up in the way that I want it to, and that's super important because I used to perform for big stages like the Youth Olympics, right? Like I used to perform for Universal Studios, like thousands of people, but I don't think it's the same as really building your own brand as an artist and having people see and appreciate you in the way that you need them to. And honestly,
it's like you want to have control over that whole like
the narrative.
Yeah, the narrative and how you present yourself and like your brand. It's really nice because you've really stayed true to that. That's cool.
I try my best. And honestly, it's not very different from helping to grow a startup.
Yeah.
Same thing. Branding, positioning, marketing, narrative, building relationships, the right relationships in the industry. Honestly, it's a parallel path.
So I know you travel quite a bit, but one of your bases is near New York City. How do you feel about the city? Has it had an impact on your career? I've just been in New York this week shooting content, interviews, and also for an eCommerce conference as well. And I'm so energized by like how everyone is so, maybe it's a tired term to say it's like a hustling city, but it is. Like people are really going after their dreams and working really hard, and it's very infectious. Like, do you share in that? How do you feel about New York?
Yeah, I 100% agree with what you said. I think your description of New York is exactly what I would have said the third time I was here. So now I've been here 6 times. And every time I come to New York, I try like a different neighborhood of the city, also to get a feel of like how the vibe is in different places. So I feel like it's actually really different in different parts. Like if you're in Manhattan, I feel like it's go, 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 go all the time. And it can be really intense. New York is big on events. So like I have once gone on one single day to 6 different events in a row. And like I got so wasted.
Happens.
None of that should go on the podcast.
No, we'll edit it, don't worry.
But I was so tired from a whole day of going going out, and like I was like crushed. I was like, how do people keep up with this? It's too much, you know. But that was in Manhattan, and then I went to Brooklyn, and Brooklyn was just like more chill, more calm.
A lot of people live there.
A lot of people,
like not as many tourists.
Exactly. And also like it's a little further for you to go to events. So then like you might not go to all of the events. You might just pick like 1 or 2 events that you'd go for, and then you just work. So it's more of a balance. And, you know, you would like go into a cafe and stuff like that and chill. And it would just be for relaxation, not catch up with friends, not necessarily a business meeting or a work meeting. And I like that. And now I'm just exploring like further and further out. Like, and now I'm in New Jersey, in Jersey City. And honestly, the vibe is so nice. Yesterday, I went out for dinner and walked into like a random park, and there was a band playing, and
nice.
and they were phenomenal. Like they were
cool.
so professional, and they had originals. And then there was like an observatory, and you could see like the whole view of Manhattan, and it was just so lovely.
So don't sleep on Hoboken, New Jersey.
Absolutely not. I've even like I am so tired of honestly, I'm tired of the city on the weekends because the subway breaks down a lot. So I'm from Singapore, and like everything is very new. Things don't break down very often, and if they do, we complain like crazy about it. I actually cannot deal with the subway on the weekend. So I've started to like take trips out of the city on the weekends. So like typically I'm like all the way in the south, going to the beach, on a boat or something. I was in Connecticut, and I like went to watch my friend play in a band, and I was just like driving around New England. I'm just trying to get out of the city. I think it's because I've been here 6 times.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the beginning, I would say, I think the thing that keeps me here are the people, because everyone's working hard, and everyone's not just hustling, but also super friendly and super helpful. And that's something, and I've been to a lot of cities, I have never seen that in any other city that I've been in.
That is not the stereotype of New Yorkers. I'm happy to hear that's your experience. And that's actually been my experience. I've had like great experiences in New York, to be honest. And I also want to talk about how we met. Kind of like on the topic of events, like we went to an event with the Asian Hustle Network, and what was the venue? Were we in Soho?
Yeah, it was in Soho.
And it was really cool. So Asian Hustle Network is an organization bringing together Asian entrepreneurs and creatives, and it's networking, it's community building. The event we went to had people in New York who are trying to start companies, like CPG companies and beverage companies, and there was the founder of Lunar was there. Lunar is a amazing hard seltzer brand with an Asian founder. He's Korean. And we also had like some fashion labels there. Love Bonito, which is also, I believe, a Singaporean brand.
Yeah. Shout out Singapore.
Yeah.
Also shout out my favorite location, Canal Street Market. I literally...
Yes, Canal Street Market.
It's literally my favorite place to eat.
Wait, tell the audience about what it is.
Canal Street Market is like a food court on Canal Street in Soho. It has maybe like 14 different vendors selling food from Asian chefs or Asian-inspired work. They have like all kinds of like Chinese noodles, Filipino food, like vegan sushi, special luxury chocolates that are made with Asian flavors. My palate is quite international, but also I'm basically Asian, right? So I love pizza, pasta, like all the stuff. But at some point, I just need real good Asian food.
Yeah.
And when I walked into Canal Street Market, I literally said, oh my God, finally, real food.
You just want that taste of home. I get that.
But also the quality was really good. It wasn't like crappy, like low quality Asian food that...
It's like authentic.
It's super authentic.
Cool.
Yeah.
Everyone go to Canal Street Market, support.
Shout out to the founder. He was there, and I was such a big fan. I was too shy to talk to him, but but I value his service to the communities.
Yeah. So we met, and I told you about my podcast, and you were so immediately enthusiastic and supportive of my mission. So thank you so much for that. I'm just willing to be on, and we met it was a short meeting when we met for the first time, just like I think outside the venue, and you're just like, sure, I'll be on. I love this, like your mission. I love what you're doing. And you made the journey all the way from New Jersey this morning. So I really appreciate you for that.
No, I appreciate you. I love that you're doing this.
I feel like it's so cool. I think you have so much courage, even from when you were younger. Like you wanted to chart your own path, and you wanted to be a performer, even though you went to a school that was like churning out civil servants. You're like, I'm going to be a star. And it's cool because you achieved a lot as a performer. Like you won competitions, like you had a song go viral, and you're on Spotify. If you look at her songs on Spotify, like so many listeners. And you are part of this pre-seed startup company and you're extremely capable. I actually met one of the founders of Airboxr and he just sung your praises.
Oh,
And he
that's
was
so sweet.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
he was just talking about how capable you are and
Wow.
how you do so much for the company.
Oh,
And you do that while also continuing to pursue your passion of performance, while continuing to clearly you have a passion for travel. And you still make it work while having this career in tech, being a performer, traveling the world, going on trips, getting out of the city.
Yeah.
Like, I love to see like a woman make it work. And it's like you said, it's not every day isn't easy. If you really want something, just working towards what you want is extremely fulfilling, even if it's challenging day to day. So I really love to show that story. I feel like you're so cool.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Like,
Yeah.
that's the best praise ever. I just want to say also that like the only reason why we can do the things that we really want to do is having good people around. When I met you, I was like, oh, I love that you're doing something for women, especially younger women that need to be inspired. I feel like this is a mission worth supporting. I think the more you engage with and surround yourself with good people that do good work that inspire you, you will always drive yourself to do better. And that for me is like a non-negotiable. Like I will always try and do that in my life. So thank you for being here to inspire me as well. Doing all this like super professional, like hustling, like traveling yourself in the city. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I definitely want to show younger people or everyone actually that you can be a multifaceted person. Like you can be a creative person and have a really important role in tech. I think it lends itself to doing your tech job better. You're able to juggle all these different things. You can relate to your audience better. You have a better understanding of people. What advice do you have for people who aspire to have a role like yours at Airboxr or young people? Just advice for them.
I would say the moment you feel like you're getting stagnant, you're not learning, or something is not serving you, get out. Don't be afraid, just do something different, try a different way, embrace some change, challenge yourself, and constantly try and grow. And I think that will get you ahead always, like not just in a tech job, but like in life, in networking, in having a family, whatever it is that you want to do, like just keep pushing yourself and challenging yourself and growing. Like stagnancy kills you.
Yeah. It's okay if you're feeling unfulfilled or unhappy in your position, that's a signal for you to do something different and to explore other possibilities, maybe meet new people.
Yeah.
I was thinking about what you said about working at a startup and like you wear a lot of hats, you do a lot. I think that's a really good environment for young people actually, as getting your foot in the door in tech. Like working for a startup or working for an agency is kind of similar too.
Yes,
I have, my career has been in the agency world, like digital marketing, web development agencies for many years. It's similar to a startup, like it is very go, go, go. It's you wear a lot of hats. It can be challenging in that way. But in these environments, you actually are given the flexibility to try new roles. I actually started working at a fintech startup, and there I was able to evolve from like customer support role to kind of working with our product teams. And that was great experience. And a smaller company oftentimes will give you that flexibility and allow that. There's less barriers, maybe bureaucracy to like moving around in different positions. And an agency is similar too. Maybe you might start as a copywriter, or a project manager, and then you find you want to explore design or copywriting. In those environments, they'll allow you to explore those teams and actually get mentorship within the organization too. So thank you so much for coming today. I really appreciate it. It's been so great to talk to you about your journey. And I think you're so cool. Like, honestly, I think it's, and I hope you guys check out Airboxr. Please follow her on Spotify, check out her music. And thank you so much for tuning in today. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Cass, for having me. Thank you for watching, and watch, subscribe, share.